session last time talking about the Tavis Chomris as opposed to the Tov Amiti. There's another 2 points I want to speak out in the paragraph we read last time, from Hinei Sama Kadosh Baruch Hu until Panav Achor. And that's the idea that no matter what situation it's in, you always have challenges. Ha'oni mitzad echad, ha'osher mitzad echad. Ha'shalva mitzad echad, v'yasur mitzad echad. I want to go into those categories a little bit. I think when it comes to wealth, the poorer from amongst us love to see that. Oh, the Gvirim, they have a lot of nisyonis. They have to make sure they're giving enough tzedakah, and why don't they give them chomish, why don't they give meiser, why don't they give more than chomish. By the way, a lot of heterim to give more than chomish. Speak to Rav. I'll bet I'll find one for you. I just read about a rich person. They say more than 50% of his, very, very rich person, billionaire, more than 50% give. But I heard about someone recently who gave, even his son-in-law told me he thinks he gave 90% of his wealth. But I speak to a Rav, but I've seen many heterim. I mean, seriously, I say it tongue-in-cheek, but there are definitely heterim to give more than chomish for very wealthy people. Because I think the basic idea is you should have what to live on. So, but, it's the kind of susha, but look into it. Anyway, but my point is that aniyim, or those not in the gvir, rich category. By the way, many of us are very rich today. We're better off, if you think about it, than so many people. I noted once in the Gemara, some of you may have heard this from me, that it says that Esther came to Achashverosh in Tevis, which is a cold month, in order to endear her on him. It was bashkacha to endear her on him, which is fascinating, because that means that Achashverosh was cold. You understand what that means? Achashverosh is cold. We don't have to be cold today. We have air conditioners, we have heaters, we have these small little heaters they're trying to sell now. Incredible. Achashverosh was what the Gemara calls Molech B'Kippah. He was Molech on, one of the few people who was Molech on the whole world. He reached things that Sancheirav didn't reach. Sancheirav never controlled Yerushalaim. He, like very few others, Shlomo at a certain point in time, I believe Nebuchadnezzar, but he was in a very, very, very elite cohort of people that ruled the whole world. So together with his ruling the whole world, he was cold than you and me. Think about the entertainment possibilities we have today. You can have any music at your fingertips. Incredible. So we're all kind of wealthy today. Okay, but in our world, we perceive ourselves as not wealthy. Good. So the less wealthy love to look at the more wealthy and say they have their nisyonos. But I'm okay. But it's Osher mitzad echad v'oni mitzad acher. Oni has its own set of nisyonos, and the Mesilas Yesharim's Oni is the pasuk that he brings from Shlomo Melech of stealing. Someone could really steal, but it's not just stealing. There's a lot of things. Maybe no, Baruch Hashem, most of us aren't in the category where that's a challenge, but it's a challenge of, are we happy with our lot? Are we samech b'chalko? Do we appreciate all the good things we have? Or since there are a lot of people who have more than us, we want to be like them. That's a tremendous challenge, right? So the main psychological Musar point I'm trying to get across here is that sometimes we like to perceive, we like to sometimes perceive someone else is in the challenging situation, but we're where we should be. But the Mesilas Yesharim is emphasizing to us that everybody has their challenges, and that's often the challenges is when you're not where you want to be in a certain way, that creates a very big set of challenges that you're not where you want to be, and you are looking down or badly at others, or what we use in a tremendous expression in Yiddish called forgetting. Do you forget your neighbor, the fact that he has a lot more money than you, that he has a nicer house than you, has a nicer car than you? Or are you jealous? That's called jealous. That's called kinna. That's what we have a name for that. It's called kinna. According to the Ramban, the main thing which keeps us away from Avos Yisrael is kinna. So that's a challenge. I got the money, Baruch Hashem. Maybe I will, etc. I don't got the money. Now I look at them other. Yisurim are an obvious challenge, right? One that so many accomplish and get great things. Shalva. What's the challenge of Shalva? Peace. So I'll tell you some of the challenges of Shalva. I'm okay. Jewish people go to pot. But Baruch Hashem, my nice wife, my husband has parnasa, my kids are doing well, I'm okay. But then when you're often when you're in Yisurim, you're looking for friends, Tzaras Rabim. You're looking for that condition, but now that idea that you cut yourself off from the community. My kids are great. Okay, what's going on with the other kids in the class? Who cares? That's a challenge of Shalva. No, the challenge of Shalva is that you open your eyes and see others that are less well off than you and think how you can help them. And not see yourself as cut off from the tzibur because you've had it. And I think part of the challenge of Shalva is, listen carefully, not just not seeing yourself as cut off, as the opposite. The fact that you have a comfortable life is mechayiv you, obligates you to do more for the tzibur. I heard a beautiful recounting of different women that recognized that they had a comfortable financial situation. I know 2 or 3 women like this. And they adopted, I'm going to have lots and lots of kids. I'm going to have 10, 12 kids, which is, even in the firmer circles, not so much, people have whatever amount, I don't want to go into it. But the fact that a woman makes that decision, which is, quite a decision, all the months of carrying the pregnancy and raising it and this and that, right? That's a heroic decision, which some woman made. I have shalva, I'm going to do something with it. Or a person can say, I have shalva, and just like keep it protected. That sense of protectiveness. You see when you feel certain people, sometimes you feel like the protectiveness they have on their life. I want everything to be so orderly and so sound because it's so comfortable, and I want to keep that comfort level as it is. So I'm not going to have another kid. I'm not going to have another challenge. I'm not going to, etc. Everything's just it's like a full-time vacation. So that's a challenge. Just a little bit the challenges of Shalva, which are enormous. Now, so that's a idea Panavachar. I want to go. The last point I want to make about this is something I'm going to begin next time, and it's so important. I want to extend it to the next session also, and we're going to expand the idea a little bit. And these are all such important ideas. That's why I'm sitting on them, and I feel that we could just read through the Mesilas Yesharim quickly, but I feel what we have to speak out and what the tzibur can gain is by thinking about these concepts and living them. These are the words of one of the greatest geniuses, one of the greatest tzaddikim, one of the greatest chassidim, one of the greatest humans, one of the greatest malachim that ever lived, the Ramchal. So just to read them quickly and just to get through, if you want, there's Bekias and other things. But Mesilas Yesharim isn't a book to just zoom it through. It's a book to savor and chazer, as we learned about it earlier, to review and go over, etc. And at least minimally to think about and delve into his holy words in a serious way. That's what we're trying to accomplish. He is truly in the milchama chazaka. He's truly in a strong, deep milchama. I think when we look up, and I speak about myself also as having this problem, that when we look up to Rebbeim, mentors, those who accomplished in our communities, Gvirim in our communities, things like that, those we view, shul presidents, principals, accomplished teachers, whoever it is, we don't realize that they went through milchamas. This world is a world of milchama. That's what Mesilas Yesharim takes to tell us. That means people have been truly successful, right? Truly successful, have gone through the milchama because either they're engaged in the battle or they're not. If they're not, they're losing. Because if there is, the most sure way, to be sure of lack of success in a battle is you don't even realize it's happening. I speak at the end of the 2 years that we've been in Israel, but it all came from this conception. Everybody knows that we thought, and many thought that way, that we were in control of Hamas, everything was kind of okay in Gaza, and then, our problems, everybody realized that we have problems. Iran, Hezbollah, these guys in the south end, nothing organization, whatever, we've contained them. So when you don't realize there's a battle going on, we know the danger of that. So anybody who's been successful has gone through a battle. But here's the problem. We don't realize that. We don't realize that. So I look at my Rebbeim and think, wow, they're all so brilliant and they're all have accomplished so much. And then the problem with that is that when we stumble and fail and aren't successful, we think we have no shaykhs to the world of success. I think it's a deep point. I want you all to take a second and take that in. I'm not shaykh to the Gedolim because I stumble. I'm not shaykh to my parents because I stumble. I'm not shaykh to my Rebbeim because I stumble. And they don't. Because look at the picture they're presenting, and I don't mean that in a bad way. The normal person, the Rav of the shul, doesn't get up and say, I'm really struggling, I'm vulnerable. Your parents don't say that. Your Rebbeim don't say that. A lot of times it's not what the community wants to hear. It's not the whole way the whole thing is built, etc. But what we live in, therefore, is a situation where all the people who are featured, right, in the magazines, in the podcasts, in the shuls, in the companies, in the yeshivas, in the chassidios, are all super accomplished. And that's what life is. And they tell us that they struggle sometimes, but we don't really believe it. But here the Mesilas Yesharim is telling us, I don't know, when you see a person of accomplishment, you can know it was a milchama chazaka that he went through. By the way, I drawn my 15 years in Eish Torah, 16 years in Eish Torah. I was in a Talmud, was not a Talmuder of Noach Weinberg Zatzal, but I'm certainly a big admirer for it. I worked closely with him, I would say, definitely in a certain way. And one of the great things of Rav Noach is he used to speak all the time about how much he had struggled. He didn't speak about personal struggles, which he also had, that some of us knew, but he definitely spoke about his struggles to establish Eish Torah. A lot of times, I founded, I don't remember the exact numbers that people know, but I founded 6 organizations, 5 yeshivas, they all failed, and he used to talk about all the time, and he used to call me Noach the Meshugana. And he used to have whole things. I don't know if he made them up or he got them somewhere else. First they say you're crazy, and then they say you're not so crazy, and then they say, oh, maybe I could also do it, and then they say you can do it better than him. But when he started in the 70s and this Kiruv thing, people thought he was crazy. And he didn't know how to make an organization. But the good thing about Rav Noach is he used to speak about it a lot. And he had it really like numerically, there was Shema Yisrael, and there's this thing, and here he had a machlokes, and here, boom, 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 boom. So we knew that here was a person, and now he's sitting on enormous accomplishment. I mean, 30 branches, 30% of the Kotel Plaza, $50 million worth of real, I don't know, I'm just throwing out the numbers. So you saw a person of success in front of you, but you knew it wasn't always like that. At least he was telling us that. I think it would be a good thing for more leaders sometimes to talk about their lack of success and the struggles they had going along the way, because your students, children, don't believe it, and it was hard to believe about Rav Noach. By the way, Rav Noach was something special because he perceived himself even at the end as not successful. You think this is what I wanted, 30 branches? He wanted to save the whole Jewish people. He would probably add some words. He wanted to save the whole Jewish people. He wanted to stop intermarriage, so he didn't perceive himself. So he was a very strong person. I think most people can't deal with his level of seeing themselves unsuccessful. I think it would depress most of us. He was, I think, naturally a happy person, and he had very strong hashkafas. So I think he could live together with this, like, I'm not successful picture. I don't know if most of us have that type of mental clarity and strength and, good chinuch, solid chinuch. He came from a very strong family, as I understand. So that's just my analysis. But either way, the point is that there is a milchama chazaka, and we will only do ourselves well by knowing for ourselves that we're in milchama chazaka, and that those around us are really succeeding are also in milchama chazaka, whether they tell us about it or not. So therefore, my message right now is don't feel outside of the Beis Hashem because you're in a milchama chazaka. And Bezrat Hashem, we're going to hear more about that from the great and epic, unforgettable letter from Rav Yitzchak Koder, the Baal Pachad Yitzchak. We'll start with that next time.